Hello Holy mouse, it's been over a year since the last part came out. Well everyone, as I promised before, I would continue making videos of ranking every Disney and Pixar movie this summer. I know that I promised to rank every single movie in one video, but I already have a different video planned for winter with ranking every episode of a TV show. So far I've ranked somewhere around 24 movies with my friends, and surprisingly my opinion hasn't changed on them throughout this time. Also, 2 of the reviews were made by my friends back in 2021, but I obviously wasn't able to find their videos after more than a year passed. Because those 2 movies were mostly reviewed by Slush Sports and Total Drama J, I'll try to briefly review them, but the rankings will remain the same. Also, if any of you would like to help me with my future Disney and Pixar videos, let me know in the comments. Oh, and by the way, I planned some of the parts for this video back in 2021, so don't be surprised if it looks different from my recent videos. The same can be said about my reviewing style, since the way I reviewed stuff in 2021 and 2023 would obviously differ. Anyway, with this intro out of the way, let's finally continue ranking every Disney and Pixar animated movie. This is the movie that Splash Sports reviewed in 2021, so I'll try to mention both of his and my thoughts on the movie. If I'm not wrong, Sludge mentioned that the movie was great. He enjoyed the characters, story and songs. He also said that Aladdin is not the best movie out of the Disney Renaissance, but it's still a movie he enjoyed. Now I honestly completely agree with Slush Sports, since the movie itself is obviously really great but not the best. If I had to add something that I think Sludge didn't mention, it's that the animation for Aladdin looked really great. The style used for the characters is really good, as well as the backgrounds, makes Arabia look very creative and charming. I also enjoy the use of CGI, which looks pretty unique in my opinion. The minus would be that the animation isn't as good as in the previous movie, Beauty and the Beast, but that's just my opinion. Overall, Aladdin was an amazing movie, and Slush Sports placed it above Bambi but under The Little Mermaid. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Oh great, another one reviewed by my friend in 2021. This time it's The Lion King, so I'll try to review it in the same way. I think that Jay said this movie was fantastic and that he enjoyed the plot, a lot of characters and also the songs. He also mentioned that his favorite song from the whole movie was Hakuna Matata. Now for my own opinion, I think that The Lion King is a masterpiece and that it's one of the best Disney movies ever made. It's gonna take some serious effort for the following movies to beat it, so I'll be curious to see when that will happen. As well as Aladdin, the animation here also looks gorgeous, although I have a feeling that it looks kinda better here. The different settings used in the movie are great and fit the characters as well, since all of the characters here are animals. Also, a detail I really want to mention is the scene with Simba seeing his dad in the sky. The speech that Mufasa gives still makes me cry to this day. Honestly, I can't really add much since the movie wasn't even supposed to be reviewed by me, but The Lion King is a masterpiece and you should really watch it. I don't remember which ranking Jay gave to the movie, but I'll place it at the top of the list just because of how fantastic it is. Anyway, let's finally get to the movies I was supposed to review. Pocahontas sucks, easily one of the worst movies so far. I think that this might be the weakest Renaissance movie since I felt nothing but boredom for the most of it. So the movie is supposed to be based on the real story of poet and woman named Pocahontas and the arrival of English colonial settlers from the Virginia Company. The main difference though is that the movie focuses more on romance while the real story is a tragedy. I'm pretty sure that the movie itself is also full of inaccuracies, so that only makes Pocahontas worse for me. Even if we put aside the inaccurate interpretation, the movie itself is just so freaking boring and forgettable. I barely remember anything from the plot, other than the fact that Native Americans and English colonists start a war after one of the Native Americans gets killed by Englishmen, but that eventually ends in both of the sides ending everything peacefully, I guess. I swear to God this movie feels so forgettable. The main focus is on the romance between John Smith, who is an English colonist, and our main protagonist Pocahontas. Basically, Pocahontas' father wants her to marry someone from the tribe, but she doesn't like him and instead has feelings for John. When that guy from the tribe gets killed by someone from the Englishmen, Native Americans think it's John who did it and therefore send him to execution. This eventually ends with the tribe not executing John and the Englishman leaving. My main concern is that Pocahontas freaking saw that John didn't kill the guy from the tribe, but she doesn't say that at first for some reason. Oh, by the way, there's also a villain here that wants to find gold and is ready to kill all tribe members, but eventually gets punished for his crimes. Honestly, I just don't care. There are no likable characters, they all just feel so bland and uninteresting. The same can be said about songs, none of them are good in my opinion. Animation is decent, but it just feels tasteless compared to the previous movies. Speaking of the previous ones, did you know that The Lion King was only supposed to be a side project and that the main expectations were set on Pocahontas? Wow, who would have thought that The Lion King would get more money than a masterpiece like Pocahontas? Does anyone genuinely like this movie? I felt so bored while watching this that my main interest was in when the movie would end. I don't care about Pocahontas, one of the worst movies so far. I'll only put this above The Rescuers because at least the animation was better, but that doesn't make this movie any better for me. I really hope the next movie will be better. Speaking of better, here we have the first Pixar movie, Toy Story. Now Pixar has made several 3D animated shorts before this, but Toy Story was the first full-length 3D animated movie. I mean, this thing came out in 1995 and it looks pretty well to this day. I wouldn't say that it contains perfect animation, since there are some errors I can easily spot, but that was made almost 30 years ago, so I'll give it a pass. The story is about Woody, Andy's favorite toy, who remains that way until Andy gets a new toy, Buzz Lightyear. This makes Woody jealous and causes him to accidentally get rid of Buzz, which then turns into Buzz realizing that Woody did it and interfering during his ride with Andy. Eventually they end up getting lost and trying to escape from their evil neighbor Sid's house. Right away, I think that the story of Toy Story is great. It's simple yet interesting, and at the same time it's beneficial for the budget since there aren't too many locations. Also, speaking of the budget, it was a really clever decision to choose toys as your main characters, since it was easier to animate toys rather than humans. I gotta be honest, the human designs look kinda ugly in the first movie, and so having similar mistakes with toys wouldn't look so out of the ordinary in my opinion. As I mentioned, the animation is great, and especially for the time it came out. The characters here are amazing. I really enjoyed the duel between Woody and Buzz. Woody feels jealous for Buzz getting more attention and therefore starts acting like a jerk until befriending him by the end, while Buzz thinks that he's an actual astronaut until realizing the harsh truths of only being a toy. I especially love the song played by Randy Newman in the background while that is happening. Makes me feel worse for him. Also, the songs are really good too. My favorite is definitely You've Got a Friend in Me. Another great thing about Toy Story is the villain. I love how instead of being a toy like in all of the future movies, it's just a random kid who's mistreating his toys. Sid also has a pretty simple but nice design. I think he might be the only human that doesn't look ugly. Last thing I want to mention is the humor, which is obviously really good in this movie. I think the funniest moments happen at Sid's house, since that's when we see our two main characters develop, but also have some funny moments. What else to say? Toy Story is a great movie. Not my favorite from the franchise, but it's definitely a very strong start for both the franchise and also Pixar movies. It's going under Aladdin. And there you have it, ranking every Disney and Pixar animated movie series is back. There are still a lot of movies left for me to cover, including those that came out after I started making this series, so I'm looking forward to reviewing them. Also, if you want to help me with ranking these movies, make sure to write that in the comments. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. I'll see y'all in section 5 of this series. Thanks for watching, goodbye.